to have that many applications means that we're going to hire the best of the best, and individuals who have experience can get qualified for their ICE badge as soon as possible and hit the streets so that they can make sure that these families get to live safely again.
After the tragic and disgusting shooting of Sarah Beckstrom, the National Guard soldier from West Virginia, the 20-year-old who was killed by an Afghan national who was granted asylum by Donald Trump and allowed to enter the country in September of 2021 by Joe Biden, there's been a lot of talk about vetting of asylum seekers and vetting of migrants coming into the country. There doesn't seem to be any talk about vetting ICE agents who are endeavoring to kidnap those migrants off the streets while masked, while refusing to identify themselves. No vetting for them. And the details that we're starting to get through interviews and insiders who are sounding the alarm is, in fact, itself alarming. There's reason to sound the alarm. They are trying to put through, I'm going to read some paragraphs here that they will shock you. Even the incompetence that is on display of Donald Trump and Kristi Noem and these ghouls on a daily basis, even knowing everything you know, you'll be like, what? They're trying to put a nearly 500-pound man through ICE training at FLETC, the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center? That's what they're trying to do? They have people who want to take a break from training to go deal with their court case that involves a gun charge. There are people going through ICE recruitment training that barely can read and write. Yeah, under Donald Trump, absolutely. Because there is a fever pitch to get this internal army stood up to be masked armed agents, the secret police of Donald Trump. And it doesn't matter how fucking fat you are. It doesn't matter how illiterate you are. It doesn't matter how criminally inclined you are. We want you. We need you. This is from the Daily Beast. ICE Barbie's hiring blitz descends into disaster with shockingly bad results. The deliberate rush to boost numbers had led to violent, barely literate, and unfit rookies becoming federal agents. You know, there was once a time, I remember when I had moved from Washington, D.C. back to Idaho, and I lived in a town called Nampa, a town I went to elementary school and stuff. It's a suburb of Boise. And we had just bought the house that we lived in, and U.S. Marshals and FBI agents showed up at my house. And it was for somebody who owned the house before me. Trust me, there was no trouble. There was no trouble. And I remember thinking, like, these are two capable guys, professional men that were questioning me about whatever. I don't remember what it was because it had nothing to do with me. But they were men of to be at least admired in some way. They weren't giant 469-pound fatties who couldn't run a block to enforce laws. They had an acumen about them about investigatory matters that they could put two and two together through their ability to read and write. It's just not the case anymore. A federal agent used to mean something, and it just doesn't anymore under Donald Trump. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's race to add 10,000 Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents has become a circus as sloppy vetting and massive bonuses have attracted a raft of bottom-of-the-barrel recruits and even some suspected of having gang ties. You know, the thing that Donald Trump constantly talks about, migrants, they're sending their gang members, we have to get rid of them, as he hires gang members to be agents of the federal government. Noem, 54, again, I don't know if you've been around every time I get reminded of her age, but how is that lady not 65 years old? I mean, come on, 54, I'm 51. I'm 51 years old. That means that she was a senior when I was a freshman in high school, right? Isn't that the math that works out? I did graduate high school after all. Noem, shockingly 54 years old, dubbed Ice Barbie for staging glam raid photo ops, boasted this week that her department will hit 10,000 new recruits within days. In fact, let me give you about a minute of video of her talking to Sean Hannity, bragging about the quality of federal agent they're bringing in through their bonuses and trying to get ramped up to all of these new recruits. Watch this from her on Fox News.
You're looking to hire 10,000 more ICE agents. You have already well over 100,000 applications?
We do. In fact, as of today, about 110,000 applications in less than 2 weeks. And that's what I find so encouraging is it's clear the American people are behind President Trump and these officers. They have their backs and they want to be a part of what's happening in this country by making it safe again. So despite what, the fake news says, despite what the liberals and the socialists and the Marxists are parroting every single day out in their communities and to their supporters, it's just not true. The American people are so happy and they're excited about the fact that the rule of law is going to apply to everybody and that Americans and citizens who follow the law should be prioritized and that President Trump is doing exactly that. So to have that many applications means that we're going to hire the best of the best, and individuals who have experience can get qualified for their ICE badge as soon as possible and hit the streets so that they can make sure that these families get to live safely again.
You're going to be, I'm going to get there, but you're going to be shocked at what you just heard juxtaposed against what the facts are here. But a Daily Mail investigation says the frantic push has produced recruits who have gone on to allegedly attack civilians and sexually assault female trainees and others who can barely read or write. One case reportedly included a 469-pound man whose own doctor had already declared him unfit for physical activity. Not fit for service, just unfit for physical activity. And no, I know what you're thinking. That 469-pound recruit was not Donald Trump. Keep your pants on. Anything that they think may have a pulse, they're moving through, one unnamed DHS official was quoted saying. Vetting has allegedly been so rushed that the Mail reports recruits were flown to a training base in Glencoe, Georgia, before drug test results came back, only for some to test positive after they were already in training. One trainee reportedly asked to leave class to attend a court date on a gun charge. Others were found to have tattoos linked to gangs and white supremacist groups when they stripped down for workouts. The Mail investigation comes after the Daily Beast reported last month that insiders felt the recruitment drive had become a full-blown shit show, with Noem's job at risk as a result. The Mail report says the disaster has come about because ICE slashed standards to meet President Trump's target of 10,000 new recruits, dangling signing and retention bonuses of up to $50,000 that DHS touts on its recruitment site and job postings. Applicants no longer need a college degree and can now be as young as 18 years old, while the Trump administration scrapped the upper age limit entirely in August. According to internal figures cited by the outlet, hundreds of brand new hires with no law enforcement background have been rushed into the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center, FLETC, in Brunswick, Georgia, alongside older rehires pushed into desk jobs. Instructors at the Georgia Academy were left astounded as some trainees who can barely read or write English bombed open book exams and struggled to complete basic physical training. One incredulous DHS source told The Beast, a 469-pound recruit? Are they going to roll him down a hill? And then finally here, discipline problems have followed. The Mail describes one 29-year-old recruit being arrested off-site after allegedly exploding at a FLETC bus driver and smashing his phone. Another man was accused of barging into a woman's dorm after a night at the bar, while a second allegedly groped a female trainee during defensive tactics class. This is our Department of Homeland Security. These are the people who are masked and refuse to identify themselves in your community, kidnapping migrants and citizens alike off the street with no due process. This is it. 469-pound turds, illiterate idiots, people who are groping women trainees in training, people with gun charges and gang tattoos and Nazi-affiliated rhetoric on their bodies. Good job. Sean Hannity promoting Kristi Noem, who's following through on the orders of our white supremacist president. Good job. Incompetence is now in vogue in Donald Trump's administration. Anyway, what do you think? I invite you to this conversation. If you have any federal law enforcement background, I'd love to hear from you. Generally, what are your thoughts? You can call the voicemail line in addition to commenting on the video. That is 714-576-4054. And of course, you can email me. Always the email, daily@dollemore.com. I'd love to hear from you. And I'm going to go hide and cry somewhere because this is depressing shit. Anyway, I love and appreciate you very much. I'll see you next time. Be genuine and take care of one another.